if you look at, especially in India, the innovation that's been sparked on the digital side, whether it is fintech, whether it is the customer experience, it's just mind blowing, right? But none of these are revolutionary changes, right? The thing is, these are evolutionary, which means they sneak up on you before you even realize it's hit you. And so, which means you have to be agile, you have to be looking at what other people are doing, and then constantly working with the, internally. I'll be talking to my commercial team, I'll be talking to my sales team, I'll be talking to my operations team, say, what are the pain points? What can we do to enable you to offer something better, right? And the issue is that, when we talk about digital, this, that, everybody thinks there's going to be this watershed moment that suddenly you go from being legacy to digital. No, it creeps up on you. Before you realize it, it's like getting old. I mean, there's no one moment where you say, you woke up one morning and said, oh, look, I'm old. No, suddenly you realize that, your gray hair is all grayed out and you're actually part of the problem, not part of the solution. So the only way to do that is to, one, have a pulse on what's happening in the industry, right? Build a team that is, you draw from the youth, right? And I mean, the kind of ideas, the thought process that the younger generation brings in, just can't afford to ignore that. You do that and then you bake it into your DNA in terms of how you consume that. Then at least you position yourself to say, hey, look, I am hedged against any kind of changes that happen. If you wait for this watershed moment, it's never going to happen, and before you realize it, you are the legacy, you are no longer the other cutting edge. If I think back at every single partner that we have worked with, the one common thread is going to be completely seamless API connectivity across the entire system. Now, whether it's the data, whether it's the transactions, whether, what. So in fact, most of my discussions when we started talking to partners was, okay, give me your API documentation. I want to see what APIs you can give me. And that allows us to kind of come back and say, these are there, part of the core system. These are not part of the core system. I can then actually balance it out to say, how important is it? Do we build it ourselves? Do we get the partners to build it for us? So, and by the way, again, from a tech perspective, I really don't care whether the APIs are provided as a microservices architecture or this or that, as long as I get the API connectivity that I want.
Sure. I think at a fundamental level, Fly Labs, we see ourselves as an enabler to that business scenario, right? So in terms of configurability, we give all of that to the airline, all of the power to the airline. And I think that enables that speed to market. Anytime there's customer experience involved, it moves very fast. You have to be able to move just as fast. And as you said, bringing those products online quickly, we're big believers in failing fast. I think I saw that on your presentation as well. Doing experimentation, seeing what's working in the market and being able to quickly adjust. There's a technical component too, of course. So, API connectivity, I think that goes without saying. So to be a good partner to those partners in that ecosystem, you need to be able to have seamless connectivity and make it easy. So we really just believe that we're an enabler to that business scenario, give the configuration and the power to the airline to be able to make fast changes, experiment quickly, do A/B testing, find out what works quickly, and make changes in the market as necessary.
So you have a platform which is simple, agile, and open. Simple, keeping the interaction simple. Agile for collaboration, and open so that you have ready-to-use toolkits, etc., which the airline can build upon. Now, we are moving away from, if I may say, from competition to hyper-competition, right? So that's why, just as Anand mentioned, you have to be nimble and very quick and act upon it. So what we've done is we've built an ecosystem of partners. So again, partners, very important. The airline, our customers want to work with the best in the trade, if I may call it, right? And we are, again, enablers on that. So what we have done here is we have collaborated. We've called for collaboration. We've collaborated with partners to go and set it up. We've invested so that airlines can quickly onboard, right? And go ahead and create the experiences they want to, what their customers want. So many times people term us as a B2B business, but our outlook is a B2B2C. We are here trying to enable or create a platform such which the airlines can use to go ahead and create experiences for their customers.
What we firmly believe to gain some of that control back, if you like, is the airline should be their own super retailer of their flights and products and services, right? I think OTAs have seen a gap in that market, and so they're doing it, and they're doing it quite well. But I think for that direct channel, airlines really need to hopefully take control of that merchandising experience and be the super retailer and the master of their own products and services.
I think approaching this as a channel conflict problem is, in my opinion, at least approaching it the wrong way. You got to figure out a way to coexist with the channel partners. They are there to support the business. You can't come back and take a us versus them kind of an approach.
Indeed.
So you have to avoid a conflict, but then figure out a way to coexist with your partners. Which is why it's always about partners. What can we do to coexist? The moment you take an approach saying, hey, that's a high cost channel and I need to move those into my preferred channel, that's a preferred channel for me as a provider, not necessarily for what the customer is looking for. So think of that from a customer's perspective, and you have to figure out a way to coexist with that. The customer engages with us in a channel that is most convenient to them. That's a given, right? I mean, we can do certain things to nudge or influence customer behavior because it suits us. Our responsibility, our job is to eliminate channel conflict, meaning a customer engages with me on one channel does not mean that he or she cannot consume other products and services through another channel. And to me, if you get that cleared, the channel conflict goes away, right? Today, what you see is a lot of the stuff that you see that, hey, there's a high cost, the OTAs control the customers, and those debates come because we have inherently created channel conflicts, which means there are walls between channels, and you can't move. A customer who makes a booking through one channel engages with you on your app, and hypothetically speaking, I know it's old, but I can't retrieve the PNR and modify the PNR simply because it was booked through an OTA. Now, somewhere there we have to figure out how to eliminate that channel conflict. Once you eliminate that, then this whole question about which is a preferred channel, I want to move my customers to this channel versus that goes away. So go back to the root of that problem.
Fair enough.
Now, from an airline perspective, how we look at it is, how do we enable the airline to provide that experience? Normally, customers go for a particular channel based on the experience that they have, right? Now, this is an era where we're looking at all the airlines trying to up that experience, whether it's from the inspiration perspective, right? Or throughout that journey. I mean, you or me plan a holiday. We get so excited, how do we plan it?
True.
And I have a 14-year-old, I'm planning a holiday, and he suddenly says, okay, he just goes to a ChatGPT to work out an itinerary. My point here is that engaging the customer and the airline being able to do that, let's say match that experience or even better that experience, right? I think that is what you make your channel more attractive. We see the shapers in the industry looking at this, right? I fly an airline. I want to know where my baggage is. I'm taking 3 flights to reach Seattle. Has my baggage been loaded on this flight? Has it moved to the other? So providing that the platform providing that engagement and that entire experience, I think that's what will create the differentiation. That is what will make, let's say, the airline direct channel more attractive, probably, rather than telling an OTA, give me the customer data, right? So interestingly, from an AI perspective, that's an area which is, that's something which everyone's working across. Yesterday, we saw the leaders talk about data, and data in itself is nothing, right? So, I mean, you need to go ahead and use technologies such as AI on that data, let's call it to create hyper-personalization, to get into creating curated offers with real-time data and artificial intelligence behind it. So across solutions, we have been imbibing technologies such as AI and ML also, right? Whether it's in terms of operational data for the airline, from a flight management perspective, and of course, you see all the virtual assistants and the chatbots that are always there. So yes, it has a key role in the revenue management space, not just predictive but prescriptive, looking at the patterns. We spoke about patterns that we look at, not just historical, but what is emerging, what is developing. So yes, it is here to stay.
So probably one of the biggest changes is the people management, the people change, right? Using a new tool, using new technology. There's a massive change management process that sits behind that. Because really the technology is very adaptive, it's very powerful, it's very smart. So from a technical perspective, it can solve very, very well. But the people change behind utilising new systems and utilising new technology is probably the biggest piece. I think super apps is indicative of the consumer market these days, right? People want everything at their fingertips. And I think it's an opportunity, as they've said. But I think as well, you know, the consumer is looking in a few clicks to be able to book a flight with products and services and be done quite quickly, just like they can order a meal or a trip to their friend's house, whatever it is. So I think the responsibility is on airlines and its providers to enable that seamless booking sort of experience on that super app, because you're competing in a true retail, consumer-driven world.